Greetings, gamers, and welcome to the 48th live stream from the Misfit Gamer Studios. I'm your host, Vortex, and this is D&D Discussions. On today's homebrew review, we're going to do things a little bit differently, as Kage isn't in the studio with me today. He had to take a day off. So with that, we do have a viewer-submitted item for the next homebrew review that he'll be part of, which will be next week. And we do have another item submitted from Cosmic. So we will go ahead and be pushing that off until next week, so Kage will be able to review that with me fresh, and we'll be able to get all of that instead of having it try to be spread out over multiple streams. It'll just be better if we can do that together. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of doing a high-low like I normally do, I wanted to go back and look at some of the items that we passed up last time. There were the last high-low I did for magical items from D&D Beyond. There were 2 items that I skipped because they were created, or at least supposedly, according to the profile, created by Matt Mercer, and they are the highest rated magical items. And I didn't think that to be really justifiable for a high-low, especially because he is so well known for being so good at what he does. So what I wanted to do was kind of save those for a different stream. So I think that's what we're going to do today. Is I want to take a look. Hopefully we'll get through the 3 that he has on the magical items list. He's has 3 of the top 4. So we're going to go ahead and review those today, and then I'll get those up on the leaderboard, and then that will probably be it for today's stream. And then my cat. That'll probably be it for today's stream, and then we will pick up on a different topic on Friday. I'm not sure if I want to do another deep dive into High Point, or if we're going to take a new subject, but we'll get back to you on that one. Join the Discord if you want to get a heads up on what that might be. I'll go ahead and put the link into chat right now, so if you're in Twitch chat, you can go ahead and just click on that and come and join the Discord. And if you're on YouTube, you might have to do it manually, or I might be able to put it into the description. So check for that, and then we will see you in the Discord. I need to get my cat out of here, otherwise he is going to start destroying the stream. So give me 1 second, and then we'll get started on this homebrew review. Let's go. We want to go to there. Whoa, hello. Oh, that did not like it. Okay. That's not too bad, though. We will just go here. We'll reset everything, and then I will get my cat out of here so we can get started. Sir, can you not? Sir? Sir. Would you... Yes, that is my finger. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I will be right back, and then we will get today's episode started. It was cute to have him for the intro, but just it's not going to be very good for every time he wants to like chew on everything. All right, let me get this microphone kind of resituated because we're going to be probably right about here. Excuse me. Volumes look good. I'll be able to take a look, see what we're reading. You guys will be able to see that on screen as well. And then let me go ahead. So yeah, so for today, we are back on D&D Beyond for today's homebrew review. But again, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to be doing the high-low like we've done before. What we are going to be doing is taking a look specifically at the magical items, as you can see here. And then we want to specifically look at these 2, or these 3. So we're going to be looking at the boots of the Vigilant, the Magician's Judge, which is a greatsword, and we're going to pop down here if we still have time. We're going to be looking at the Flask Perpetual Booze. And then we're going to give those basically our high point rating. We're going to see how well he does with creating items that I would want to put in high point, and we'll see how we go from there. If you are watching, go ahead and join me in chat. If you're on YouTube, sorry, I won't be able to see what you're doing right now. I don't have that necessarily set up. Or you're probably watching this in the future because nobody watches me live on YouTube. But that's fair. I'm not intending to. But yeah, if you're in Twitch chat, go ahead and let me know what your thoughts are. I do see what's going on, and let's get started. All right, so I also have I don't want to have that up in front of everybody. So there we go. I'm going to have the list in the background. Okay, so we are going to start today. We are going to start with the Boots of the Vigilant, and we're going to see where this takes us. We're going to see what he came up with. This is all the way back in 2019. It has had over 77.5 thousand views. Over almost 15,000 people have added it, and only 114 people have found it, have given it a negative point, with an overwhelming 2,733 people voting it up, which is funny because you have 14,000 people having added it, but yet only not even 3,000 people voted. That's shame on you people. Shame on you people. All right, so let's check out the Boots of the Vigilant, and we'll see where we're going with here. All right, Boots of the Vigilant, wondrous item, and it is uncommon. So while you wear these boots, you can see. Wow, I can speak today, guys. I promise. We're gonna restart this. All right, let's start. So, Boots of the Vigilant. Wondrous item, it is uncommon. I don't know. Are wondrous items normally uncommon? That would be a very interesting question. I thought that would be something different or something more rare. But while you are wearing these boots, you can sense impending danger. After you roll initiative, you can choose to roll 1d8 and add it to your initiative roll. Interesting. Once this ability is used, it cannot be used again until the next dawn. So it's a daily reset. Okay. So it's a daily reset. It gives you a 1d8 added to your initiative roll because you're able to incense impending danger. Okay. So let's talk about that. So at its face, I guess I'm more confused. I'm really more confused on why it's so popular. Why is this the number one item? It's not that it's bad that I'm so surprised. It's just a bump to initiative. I don't understand. Is that a problem? Is that like something that's so drastically needed that this item solve? Like so normally when I want to approach a homebrew item, like, not necessarily like every time I want to create something, but when I look at something like this, especially something to give out to the community, you would think that what you're trying to do is solve a problem. You would think that at some point you're looking at this to take, I feel like there are feats and other things. I know that there are racial feats. I swear that there's other feats that Cosmic, what's going on? Yeah, I swear that there are other feats that would accomplish this. Is this a problem that really needed solving that drastically? And it's so great of an item that this many people needed it? Or is this exactly what I had feared and why I didn't review this during a high-low? Is it just literally this popular because of who made it, and was it used during one of his podcasts or one of the shows, and therefore a lot of people came here and immediately grabbed it after that episode? Because that, to me, almost seems more likely with his popularity, is whether or not this item was excuse me, with whether or not this item was specifically used for an episode, or for one of his campaigns that was published. And if that's why it's so popular, that makes sense. But I'm really struggling to understand why is it that a 1d8 to initiative roll is like that important. Like I can't imagine that was a problem that needed solving and wasn't solved by anything else so drastically, that this is important. I mean, it's that, oh my God, almost 15,000 people have added this, and it has only 114 people negative. Like, we're going to jump into the comments, but I don't understand how many people needed this item. This is the number one magical item. I'm kind of flabbergasted. Like, honestly, I'm kind of surprised the Fine Mustache didn't win out. Hey, Nerdy, what's going on? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for chit chatting. I'm curious what you two really think. Cosmic Nerdy. I think this is kind of I think it's very underwhelming. That's my initial impression. This is extremely underwhelming for the highest rated magical item, for how many people have added this item and obviously have looked at it. My only belief is it was used in an episode by people's favorite character, or was at some point so minutely like lucky in being able to turn the tide of something that everybody wanted to jump on this. But no, I am so underwhelmed. It's losing a point. Like I think you guys, if you followed me for enough time, you kind of know what I start to lose points for. Especially the first points are usually lost because of whether or not I need it, I can use it, or whether or not it inspires me. Those are usually like the first points. But I'm almost going to. I think the first point being lost on this one is simply because it's so underwhelming. And that's my fault. I'm not saying that this is against Matt Mercer or whoever created this item. I am not saying that who created this has a problem with the types of items they create. I just feel like the approach of this being the number one item and how many people have added it, I'm very underwhelmed with what people like I don't understand what was this solving and why was it so important for 14,700 people to add this. I'm a little Nerdy. What do you got? Struggling to make your D&D character, and so you came in here to for a break. Good. Well, I am glad that I can be entertaining for a little brain break. That's awesome. Also think that the item is dumb. There's plenty of things to increase your initiative or bonus that you don't need to. Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure outside of class feats, racial feats. I know there are a couple racial feats, but yeah, I don't understand why the need for, and it's only a 1d8. Like, is a d8 like is it really that imperative to put yourself that further in the queue? And then Cosmic, it seems decent for those with a high dex mod, but always seem to roll low in initiative. Exactly, like, and then is that what you're doing? Is you're trying to make it for someone who's like having a bad roll day, but like, is it a whole magical item the way to go about solving bad rolls? Class feats alert +5. Yeah, so it's like I'm so underwhelmed. I don't know if you guys saw this. We'll go back real quick one page, before we go into the comments. But like if you guys weren't here in the very beginning, look at this rating. What do we got here? So 77,624 people have looked at it. 14,798 people have added it. And just shy of 3,000 people like have 90% of them have said that this is a good item. I don't know. I'm underwhelmed. I don't understand why the hype right here of so many people. It has to have been like in an episode and that everyone came here to find it. Or he called it out on a podcast or something. Cosmic says maybe if you have a plan for an encounter that needs you to go first and their plan can't be done. I mean, yeah, having a custom item to be a super clutch decision, like again, for your game specifically, Cosmic, looking at it from the point of view of if your players start to put together the big plot and start to put together things about what they're going to be facing. And so as they're going towards, like rescuing the goddess and everything, if they start to make custom items that are going to befit those situations, that makes sense. But I don't think, 77,000 people, 14,000 people are like, oh my God, you know what? There is an exact situation I need to have these boots in. I'm a little confused. And then Artie says, in a similar boat, DM's allowing me to use Kitsune in the game. Yes, good. So glad for that. Good job. Yes. But they got to use someone else's homebrew Kitsune. Oh. But and that's more I look at in the more issues I see from the gotcha. It's the race issues. Alert's also a spell. Oh, interesting. Alert's also a spell. It's alarm. Oh, gotcha. Okay, you guys are chit chatting about that. So yeah. So I'm just straight out the gate. I'm just roughly underwhelmed. I don't understand why everything is going this direction. Let's go see what the comments say. I'm really curious to see how people are justifying this or actually talking about it. Oh, look at that. There are no comments. Wow. Okay, so let's look at this. So I'm underwhelmed. It's losing a point just because I don't really think it solves a major problem. There's so many other ways to do this. It's going to lose a point just because I don't really think that I need it. It doesn't inspire me to make anything that does this, because even in high point, I have several other opportunities to get around combat advantage that, especially with initiative and the way that second edition initiative works anyway, I'm not really a fan of this. So it's going to lose a couple points there. And for me to even get close to wanting to use this, there's a big major change I'm going to make simply based on the name. So it's more like maybe it'll gain back a point. But it's going to lose. Oh man, no, I don't get it. It's so like just under, like, who cares? How important is it? I mean, it's important. It's not like terrible. Oh, hey, Cosmic. I did get the item in the email, but because Kage isn't here with me today, I want to save that for when he's in so we don't have to split up both of our reviews. So that's why I'm going to do these ones today, because these are the ones that I skipped when I did the high-low for magical items. So I wanted to cover these ones real quick because I got a pretty heavy week this week. But when Kage gets back in next week, your item's going to be the next one on the list. So we'll check that out. D&D World, hey, welcome. Holy crap, we have such an active chat tonight. It's crazy. You got in just in time. We haven't we're going through 3 items tonight. These are all items that were created by Matt Mercer, or at least an account with that name on D&D Beyond. These are the we're going to be looking at 3 of the highest rated magical items, because he holds 3 of the top 4 spots. This is number 1, by the way. And I'm not, again, it's not a bad item. Like, as a magical item, just as a magical item, getting rid of D&D Beyond, getting rid of the reviews and the score and all of that, as a magical item, it's fine. As a magical item, it is great. Uncommon makes perfect sense, because it wouldn't be extremely available, but I could see, being able to come across it more than once. And I think that it does serve a valid advantage. I think I'm just underwhelmed that so many people have flocked to this and have made this the number 1 item. I think I'm just very confused on why a D8 in initiative is so important. I think one of the major things I would immediately change, whether or not I care about the D8 in terms of initiative, like, I could take it or leave it. Honestly, the D8 isn't that big of a deal to me. But when it comes to Boots of the Vigilant, and right here in the first title, or right here in the first line, while you're wearing these boots, you can sense impending danger. The first thing that comes to mind for me is these boots should mean that you cannot be subject to a surprise round of attack. Like, you should not be able to be surprised. You should not be able to be ambushed. You should not have the ability to have the enemy have a free round of attack on you. That is the very first thing that popped into my mind, and I am disappointed that this is not even in there. Now, if you add that with the D8 of extra initiative, it makes perfect sense. Not only are you not surprised because you sense the impending danger, but you're already reacting to it, giving you a much higher chance to be in the initiative, or higher in the initiative. And I think that's great. But the idea that it's not even added in there in this, I mean, again, I don't know. That might be a thing where 5th edition doesn't have that. I can't remember if 5th edition, but they should. I believe 5th edition can have where you have a whole round of surprise and a whole round of attack. And I don't understand why these boots wouldn't stop that, right? So that would be like my biggest critique right there, is that these definitely should have had something more involved. Because again, Boots of the Vigilant, knowing that there's impending danger, but yet you can still get surprised. I don't see it. You know what I mean? Oh wow, chat blew up real quick. Rip, I hate the long week wait, but when Kage is with you, you do tend to ramble on with minor details or tangents. I'm hoping I hope that means that it's a good thing that you understand that. Like, I hope that that's a positive thing, because that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy doing homebrew homebrew review with Kage is because we get more into it, and I feel that we play off each other really well in terms of our ideas. And as much as I can give you all the things I'm thinking of, he'll pull more ideas out of me so we can talk more. So I hope that's a good thing that you're commenting on that. But I also think it's just cleaner to have both of us review it at the same time instead of having me review it and then having to wait until I catch him again. And then as a side tangent in an episode, do that review where he's going to have to kind of like give you a shortened version of it. I'd rather you get the full breadth of everything we want to say. So hopefully that's a good thing that you're commenting on that. But yeah, I do appreciate the patience. It's just, I think, we really want to make sure that we give you the most out of the review possible. And then D&D World says takes up a boot slot. There are many, many good boots. Yes, again, it's almost as if you... I mean, again, it depends on the type of, setting you're in and whether or not you have a lot of magical items. But yes, I feel like with boots, that is a very, like a very good slot to have. And to be really only getting a couple extra points in initiative, I think that there's more to be had with that. And like you guys have mentioned, other ways to get it. So I just really think that, again, having that extra, like having not the ability to not have a surprise round or something, or even giving it like, maybe you get initiative in the first round of combat, once per dawn. Again, because you are just so prepared that first round you have initiative or something. I don't know, man. Like, it just seems like, doing something where you can't be snuck up on, or you have advantage on perception checks. Like, there's so many ways to improve these boots. A 1d8 is just, a 1d8 to initiative is just sounding worse and worse. Yeah, kind of like a spidey sense. That's a good point. I feel like Boots of the Vigilant, you can sense impending danger. There's just so many ways that can be better interpreted. I don't even actually, now that I'm even saying it out loud, how does getting an advantage in initiative after the combat has essentially started and everybody knows that there's a fight, that's not really being vigilant and knowing danger is coming. That's just being able to be super reactive. I don't really even think that goes hand in hand with the definition of this. So unless there's something I'm missing from, again, the podcast or anything, I really think that this item doesn't deserve a lot of the hype. Cosmic says, maybe people will only care about the fact that if Matt Mercer created it, it has to be good. And that's what I'm wondering. I don't know if it's so much someone came across it and said, oh my God, it's Matt Mercer's, I'm grabbing it, I have to have it in my game. I 100% would believe, though, that there was a specific episode, a specific podcast, a specific campaign where a favorite character of the audiences or Matt Mercer himself talked about this item specifically, and that was probably the big spike. Like, if we could see when people added this, I would imagine that there's probably a correlation between when he spoke publicly about this item in any form and when people added it. So I think you're on the right track, because this is why I wanted to wait off. It's because he is a celebrity, but he is also good at what he does. So I wanted to give my honest review, and I think this one is not a bad item. I think it's a fine item to have created. I think it falls short in some respects and it could have been better, but maybe in the respect of his setting and where he was creating it, maybe it makes perfect sense. I definitely don't think it deserves the hype that it currently has. And that maybe is it. Maybe it just is a good item, but it just doesn't deserve to be the number one item, in my opinion. Cosmic says it can be positive, but it doesn't make things take longer than it needs to. I have seen the streams where something that should have taken 1 hour takes 4 hours from the side talks. That is fair. You were absolutely right about that. And that is kind of part of some of the things that we are going to be working on next year, is kind of going over what we're really trying to accomplish, because now that we have the somewhat of a flow and somewhat of an idea of where we are in terms of all of this, the next step is going to be figuring out, what do we want to focus on? Do we want to focus on being able to build enough content through each stream to build out like YouTube content for videos, or do we want to start more focusing on really honing in on making this stream really concise and really efficient and kind of flow better, kind of like what you're talking about, where knowing that if we want to have an hour-long topic, giving ourselves maybe an hour and a half max. And we've talked about that a little bit on the side because the two different minds of thought, and we're not really sure where we want to go because sometimes all those side tangents, something taking 4 hours when it should have taken 1, does give us the opportunity to provide a lot more side content and a lot more workable content for editing on YouTube. So we're thanks for the feedback. Definitely let us know if you have more suggestions like this. Let us know in the Discord, man. Go to the suggestions. The suggestions under stream category. Go to the suggestions channel and pop that in there for us because we do want everyone's feedback on what's going on and how you guys are perceiving how we're doing things, because we're having fun, we're liking what we're doing, so we're just going to kind of roll with it. But over time, we do want to know more and more about what you like, what you guys don't like, and what feels right for the stream. So please add that into the suggestions. Let us know how you feel about it, and then we'll definitely take that into account next year as we start to build out the next phase of our streams. But I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And then D&D World comes back and says, it seems okay. I mean, I would hope that #1 voted Mercer item would have at least flavor text. I kind of agree. I expected this to have something. There's not even, I don't know if he just turned off comments. Maybe he just doesn't want comments. Maybe this was his very first item that he ever created. And so maybe it was a joke that he threw it up here. Like maybe on a live stream, he's like, hey man, this is the very first item I ever created when I was 9 years old. Wouldn't it be funny? Let me just put it up on D&D Beyond, and people blew it up as a joke. I don't know. I really, the #1 item, I really would have expected something more than a D8 to initiative, and that's it. And I think that there are a lot of different ways, especially with the name. I think it was a waste on the name. It's, I don't know. Seems like it could be cooler. Cosmic says, plus you have reviewed other items of your solo only to review them with Kage, like the Shield of Inversion. I have, and that is why moving forward, I'm trying to refrain from doing the user submitted ones when he's not here. That's why recently, if you've noticed, I revert to doing a high-low on D&D Beyond when he's not here. And it's exactly for that. I have done that in the past, but that is kind of the whole part of growing as a stream and figuring out what we want to do. We've looked back at some of the things that we've done before, how we felt about it, talked about, how things kind of, what works for the streams and for the episodes and what doesn't. And that was one of the things that we felt was a little bit of a hard point for us, is we felt like we did want to get to things like that. So going back on them wasn't necessarily a problem, but neither of us really felt like we were really able to get into the weeds and really get a lot of the content we wanted out of ourselves, because when we're doing when we look back on an item that I've already reviewed, both Kage and I feel like there is a invisible time limit that we have to meet in order to get that review done quickly, and neither of us really feel like we do it justice. So one of the decisions that we made was, when it comes to user submitted items like you guys, we really want to make sure that that's going to be done on an appropriate homebrew review day where we're both here, we're both fresh and able to do it. Whereas on the days where I'm just here by myself, I want to start looking at, doing other things and playing around with other new ideas, kind of like looking at D&D Beyond, looking at ones that were submitted on social media, like the one that Kage brought me a couple weeks ago. But yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why you probably won't be seeing that anytime in the future, and why you see a lot more of the high lows and other types of homebrew review, because those are to help fill in when Kage's not here. And then D&D World comes back and says, I would include it in the magic items library. So talk about back to the item. Yeah, exactly. I think it's a fine item. I'm still just confused on why it's so good. So let's wrap this one up because we don't have any comments. We don't really have anything to discuss on it. It's kind of a bland item. I think it could be better. I really think that it should do something more than just initiative. At least, no surprise rounds, or, maybe even an opportunity to where if your party is ambushed and the enemy has a surprise round, you also get to go on that round. It's because you're not surprised. So not only are you not surprised, but you also get to act that round. Maybe you always get an extra round of initiative before battle. And, little things like that could make so much more sense. A 1d8 in initiative And it's one time once per day. It's just kind of weak. I have no use for it. I think there are better ways to do it. It needs a Bam with a Spice Weasel. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's not like a terrible item. It's just it is definitely below average of what I would want to have. I don't know. Let me pull up the list real quick, guys, because I'm curious. What are some of the lowest items I've had so far? So that one was a 5. That one was a 5. No, it's definitely worse than those. Definitely. Okay. This one. So the question is this is more useful than the Fine Moustache? It is definitely more useful than the Fine Moustache. It's probably about as useful as the Assassin's Hidden Blade. I think this one's gonna get a 4 out of 10 high points. It's just it's not necessary. It's not anything I really want or need. But you know, it's an item, and it technically it works. So you know, what am I gonna do about it? I don't know. I think 4 out of 10 is fine. I think that's all it needs. And I think we can move on from there, because hopefully these next two will actually be a lot nicer. Okay, so Boots of the Vigilant, not having it. Not worth number 1. It doesn't require attunement, which is a bonus. I mean, yeah, it's like anybody can use it, but you know, I mean, just going first in initiative, because essentially that's what it's trying to do, is it's trying to make sure you go first in initiative one time. I'm just trying to think of what situation and what character build is that important on, where it's like, I need to be first in initiative this one time to change the entire course of the battle. Unless it's one of those things where it's like, and it's only when you roll initiative, right? So, you know, most initiative is set through the rest of the combat. So it's like, yeah, at the very beginning of combat, you get one opportunity to set yourself up for each round. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's really worth it. And I don't necessarily disagree with you, Cosmic. Attunement can be a very much overrated thing. I really prefer to reserve attunement for... I like using attunement when it also has a partial roleplay aspect in terms of like character building. Just having an attunement to fill a slot feels boring to me. I really feel like attunement should build the character of the item and the character of the person using it, and less feel like a limitation on, well, here's a really great item, but I don't want you to have too many of them, so I'm going to call it an attunement because you only get so many of those. But that's my personal opinion. When you're trying to plan like capturing instead of killing a dragon, that having the first move can set the tone. I mean, yeah, that is true. I think it's super situational. If we can really wanted to drill it down, I'm sure we could find extremely situational situations. I'm pretty sure that we could find situations that make perfect sense for it. I just think as a generalized item, I'm not happy with it. I wouldn't use it, just plain and simple. I mean, if it were like just part of treasure, you know what I mean? If it were just like, if I hadn't had any other boots and it were just part of treasure, I'd put them on, sure, but I wouldn't keep them. You know what I mean? Like I would immediately replace them as soon as I found a better pair of boots. Without any details, what you and the chat think of the name Chronicles of the Forgotten Age for an item. Chronicles of the Forgotten Age. It sounds nice. It definitely appeals to me. But Chronicles of the Forgotten Age, to me, immediately sounds more like a campaign title or a like maybe like a a tome or something that you would go and like go to like a secret library or ruined library. That's what I'm trying to say. A ruined library because you want this like sacred text or sacred like tablet or something. It definitely sounds like more like a quest item or even like the name of a campaign. I like it. It definitely is intriguing, and it like brings up like it definitely stirs the imagination, but as for like it doesn't really stir like the idea of like a magical like weapon or armor or anything. It definitely sounds more like a an achievable like piece of knowledge, I guess I would say. Yeah, that's just flat out just hearing that, it definitely intrigues me, but I wouldn't really know what to. I would just assume that it's a piece of knowledge. So let's go to the next one. We now have The Magician's Judge from Matt Mercer. This one has 62,248 views. 11,000 people have added it, and out of 1,500 votes, 1,494 points. So only 63 people have found this not good. And this one actually has 25 comments, so we are going to be able to read the comments on this one. Okay, so The Magician's Judge. It is a great sword. And it is rare. This one does require attunement. Okay, now we're getting spicy, ladies and gentlemen. Now we have some spiciness. So we have a great sword. Let's see if we can find something better here. So, and we immediately get to start with a backstory. I love a good backstory to start with. It doesn't have to be very long, but I do love a good setting and tone for whatever the item is. I don't mind some spice, but more of a salty guy. All right, so once utilized during the Age of Arcanum to execute magic users convicted of serious crimes, this massive blade was long thought lost to the sands of time. If you hit a creature with this weapon, you can choose to cast the Dispel magic spell against the target as part of the attack. Alternatively, you can use your action to cast the Dispel magic spell at a target of your choice. The spell is cast at 3rd level, and the ability check bonus for the spell is +3. So if you hit a creature with this weapon, you can cast a spell on the creature as part of the attack, or you can use an... Oh, okay. So as an attack, if you hit the creature with an attack, you can also cast Dispel magic. Other than attacking them, you can just forgo your action and cast Dispel magic through the sword. Got you. Okay. How to differentiate that. Yes, Dispel magic is very useful. Interrupt to haste. Ooh, yeah. There's a lot of really nasty ways to use Dispel magic. So this thing can basically Dispel magic upon hitting a creature, or it can just cast Dispel magic as an action. Gotcha. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until the next round. Okay, so it's one time. So you can, it basically, so as far as I'm concerned, this weapon has one daily charge of Dispel Magic, and can only be, it's a action to use, or it can be used in tandem with an attack. So far, actually, that's actually pretty legit. So for a magical weapon to basically have a 1 charge per day that is triggered upon hitting an enemy or using an action, I like it. It's solid, it's flat. Dispel magic is super clutch, but there's only 1 charge of it. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it so far. I don't think it's actually that big of a deal. Casting it at 3rd level, I think definitely makes puts this up a couple notches in terms of when you would want to introduce this to your party, but I like it so far. Proficiency with Greatsword allows you to add your proficiency bonus to the attack roll for any attack you make with it. That's actually not a bad idea. Now, my biggest thing, though, is so anybody can attune to it. So what's the point of the attunement? Again, so kind of like what we were just talking about. There's no point of the attunement when it doesn't add anything to the lore or to the actual relationship that you have with it. What is the point other than just saying, I don't want you to have too many of these? As it is in a +1 attack, and it's specifically a greatsword. Yeah, so it's like, I mean, granted, you know, getting proficiency with the greatsword, but I think you already do that, right? If you have proficiency, you already add your proficiency bonus. So it's like, yeah, the fact that it requires attunement, I feel like it should be a +1. The fact that it's casting a 3rd level spell, I think, makes sense that it could be a +1. So yeah, I would like to see this as a magical item. Cosmic says, what about concentration? Hitting a creature that is concentrating on a spell forces a check, which if failed, drops the spell anyway. If the creature you hit has legendary resistances to auto-succeed a saving throw, would that bypass this item's dispel magic effect? Okay, so if a creature... So let's tackle the first part. So what about concentrating? If you're hitting a creature... So this would be used to cast dispel magic against the target as part of the attack. So what I can imagine is... The idea is, because this isn't counterspell, what I'm thinking is what's going on here is, let's say, because I don't think something like mage armor has concentration, right? I think what the idea is that if someone has a magical effect on them that isn't concentration, but it's like, a magical effect or possibly like a magical item on them, I think that's the idea, is when you hit them, especially if they have a magical armor. Perhaps it's also for magical armor or an imbued weapon, where when you hit them, you can dispel whatever is affecting that creature, versus casting dispel magic on a different target using the action. So I don't think it's meant to be used more as a counter spell, in the sense that you were saying, like with concentration, the attack would drop concentration. I don't think it's meant for that. I think it's meant for whatever effects may be on the target. And then your second part is that if the creature you hit has legendary resistance to auto-succeed a saving throw, would it bypass the... Ooh, interesting. I don't know how that would work, because I think what it would depend upon is... It has legendary resistances, so I think what would end up happening is figuring out what you really think this weapon's rarity is, and if it has a high enough rarity to basically meet or beat a legendary creature or a legendary resistance, then I would say that you could justify it, forcing the creature to make its own to make a save that it wouldn't normally do. But I would say that because it's a legendary, and it's only a rare item, and it's not even a +1, in this particular case, as the item is written, I would actually say that your idea of the creature having a legendary resistance, I think it would autosave against this particular item, because it's not even a +1, so it's not a magical item. It just has a level 3 dispel magic. And unless level 3 dispel magic specifically writes in it that it can overcome a legendary resistance, then yeah, I don't think this... I think this would need to be at least magical in order to do that. So, good point. Let's go. There was only one previous version. Yeah. So once again, I'm just underwhelmed, guys. I'm super not thrilled. I mean, maybe I was kind of sort of expecting maybe a little bit more pizzazz and a little bit more, like all over the place creativity from someone like Matt Mercer. But again, who knows if this is the real Matt Mercer at this point. But, I'm not... These aren't terrible. It's not like these are, super OP or completely useless. It's just they're underwhelming and unnecessary. It's almost as if these are... Like I said about the other one, it's almost as if these are very special items from certain characters from his campaign. So sentimentally and in that setting, these are probably absolutely amazing items. But in the grand scheme of things, they're not as universally grandiose. I mean, I will take a +1 sword over this guy, even with the dispel magic. Like I'll just go learn or get a spell or a scroll of dispel magic, right? Like I just, this particular type of item wouldn't make me go out of my way to keep it. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily not accept this item, but I don't know if I would buy this item in a shop. You know what I mean? Like if I found this in a treasure, I would probably use the item, but I don't know if I would go out of my way to replace, a weapon just for this. D&D World's a 7 out of 10. Super OP or completely useless. You mean there's an in-between? Yeah, so I don't know. It's rough. It doesn't really inspire me. I don't really need a weapon that specifically... I love the story behind it. But again, the magician's judge, once utilized during the age of Arcanum to, to behead serious crimes. I get the idea that it dispels magic. So like if they were using some sort of protection, they to not be beheaded, it would like stop that beheading. Um, but like it also can't like, I don't know, man. It's a solid item. Again, I think it's a little overhyped. It's a solid item, though. 4.5 out of 10 from Cosmic. Since it's not a magical weapon, I'd assume it can bypass resistance to non magical damage, which for a rare weapon, it's just not worth it. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it as is. Let's look at the comments, see if anybody else can justify it, or if we get any information. But I'm starting to think, yeah, like I might give this a 5 just because a weapon, like in general, it makes sense because like a weapon that can cast a third level spell on hit or using an action, I like legit isn't bad. And for the story, I want to give it an extra point for that. But it's not a wow. You know what I mean? It's not a wow, and I don't necessarily need something like this. But it is cool. Like it is a cool concept for a low level weapon, like a low level like lore weapon, we'll call it. So what do other people say? So love having access to this. Please add the more bounders and whatever else you share. Love it. Tiny correction needed with the attachment of the wording for dispel magic. Very cool to have access to this. Nice sword. This is the most viewed magic item or what? It's not Hue. There's a few errors. I'm confused as to why the rarity. It doesn't give a bonus attack or damage rolls. It requires attunement, and all it can do is cast a spell magic at 3rd level once per day. Wand of Fireballs also allows you to cast 3rd level spells, but it lets you do it 7 times per day, and you can pump more charges into it to bump up the level of the spell. This item is a little better than a once per dawn reusable uncommon spell scroll that you can cast as an attack. See, like this guy right here, like this is better than I could have pointed out. This is why I'm underwhelmed by it. Unless it's a wow, it's a bad. Yeah, I think he puts it really well. Like a Wand of Fireballs is a rare item that requires attunement, and it has 7 charges. This thing is just a single charge. Yeah, I 100% agree with Abel Hawk here. I think it's the fact that you can dispel magic as part of the attack, so it's like casting the spell as an attack. So saying you're fighting a wizard who has mage armor, death wand contingency. Now you not only lower the defense, but you can unload some more attacks if you have extra attack. Alternatively, find someone like Suddenly Crumb or to someone by Spike Growth. It doesn't state it's a magic weapon. So even though it doesn't explicitly state it as a magic weapon, it overcomes resistance. At least that's how I'd rule it. Oh, hey, look. So they just mentioned what we were talking about. So they assume that this is a magical weapon, so therefore it can overcome resistances. And then yeah, your rule of Fireball can also harm Idolize. It doesn't matter though. Like that's not the point that they were trying to make. Once per day is a little rough. Blah blah blah. Instead of making a decision narrow edge, +3 could really be a liable cancel high level spell like contingency, and even a +3, a weapon +3 would be a more reliable weapon at high level. It's just like the DMG. Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with Abel Hawk here. It's just not really. It's a certain guy in common that's not even counting the fact that it's completely unnecessarily requires attunement. It has multiple charges for casting a spell, or if it had 1 plus bonus to attack or damage. Yeah, this is exactly what we were saying. So Abel Hawk's on our side, guys. If it didn't require attunement, D&D World says it didn't require attunement, it would be great. Then it would be a situational second weapon. Exactly, yeah, I totally agree with having it as a situational second weapon. Cosmic says, even my item ideas get a higher high points than these Mercer items. It can't be the real Matt Mercer. His quality as a DM just doesn't match up with the quality of his custom items. I 100% agree. Unless these, again, were like jokingly added as like what he made as a kid. I just don't agree with any of this. Yeah, you made some very good points. It's simply a case of incorrect balancing. I don't even want, like, what do you mean incorrect? So you disagree with his incorrect balancing? Sword. I'm just trying to speed through this. This is a lot, especially in Matt's game. Also spell increase the power, therefore the rarity of the magic item. That's how. So he thinks that because Matt has, and so he's supposed to greatly increase the power. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not seeing any additional ideas here, but I'm thinking, yeah, I think we're on the right page. I don't think this is Matt Mercer, the real Matt Mercer, and if it is, it's probably not anything that he's created it recently, because this just doesn't have the quality that I would expect. So yeah, this is gonna, like, again, it's not a terrible magical item. It's not something I need. So I still think, though, the idea, so dropping the attunement and everything, just the idea of having a sword that does dispel magic with this kind of a background is the only saving grace it has. It is the only saving grace because it has a cool backstory, and the link between what it does in the backstory is justifiable for a lightly magical item. I don't think it should require attunement. It would need so many changes, and I wouldn't use it as is. But I'll give it a 5 out of 10 simply because it has at least some sort of what I like in terms of a good story and justification for what it does, and not just a, hey, I have a sword that dispels magic. I'm giving it an extra point just for that. Roll for insight. DC 1566 makes you sus of that fake account. Oh man. I mean, look, they even got a nice picture. Come on. How can that not be him? Come on. All right. So, last item of the night. Oh man, we went through these pretty quick. That's okay. I could use a short night tonight, guys. It is going to be a hell of a week. End of year stuff is always terrible at work. And I have been painting the house all weekend, so doing a lot of like home renovation stuff all around the house, and I've been painting all weekend. So I was hoping that this would at least take me into an hour and a half, and then I was like, oh, I'll probably end up going 2 hours. But I'm like, here we are in the last item, and we've barely been going an hour, but it's okay. Sometimes that's gonna happen, guys. Sorry, I can't be perfect every time, but I am trying to make sure that regardless of how I'm feeling, I am here for stream. That is one thing that I am going to push myself for. Obviously, I'm not going to be here in a bad mood and try to, make the viewing situation worse. But I am trying to make sure that even on days that it's just not great for me, I am still trying to be here, still trying to build that consistency, because the quality will increase over time, as we've seen, and we'll get better as we go. But until then, we just need to be consistent, and we need to keep working at it. So thank you guys for being here with me. I appreciate it. It sounds like a painstaking task. Yes, it has been backbreaking. But it's good. It is nice to have some change around the house, to have some new colors around the house. It's a lot. But let's do the last item here. So this is the 4th top-rated item from Matthew Mercer, if I should say so, if that is your real name. But this one is a wondrous item, and it's uncommon, and it is the Flask of Perpetual Booze. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I already don't like it. I already don't like the name. And the reason why, the reason why I already don't like it, and it's simply by the name, is I am just simply, outside of it being a gimmick for a location, like going to a bar or a tavern or an inn or a restaurant or something that does this in game, having an item that has like an infinite replenish of pretty much anything is so ridiculously OP that I'm just always skeptical of anybody who wants to just create a magical item, because it's like there's a point at which things like that can be too easily abused for too many things. And most people, I don't think, really try to look at it from let me try to, balance this. So I already don't like the name, but we'll see where we go with this. Imagine this on a monk. Okay, so let's look at this. So this detailed platinum flask is enchanted to contain a magical source of fairly strong alcohol. When opened and poured, this flask produces up to 1 gallon of dark, brackish whiskey. Once emptied, the flask refills in 1 hour. Any whiskey poured from this flask that isn't consumed within 8 hours turns into brine. So basically, you are a walking bar. You're a walking tavern. Does anybody know off the top of their head how much, you could do the math here. How much is a standard like thing of whiskey, like a drink of whiskey in game? You know what I mean? If it's like a silver for, let's say, a drink of whiskey in game, right? And let's say that, out of a gallon, what are you looking at? Maybe, 20 drinks in a gallon or something like that. If we're just throwing, things out there. So that's 20 silver an hour. You can make 20 silver an hour. Like, what's the point? Cosmic says, "Oh God, this on a monk, and they challenge people to drinking contests for gold due to immunity to poison and disease. They always win and rake in nearly infinite money." I mean, yeah, there's that. You also have like this with like the drunken fighter monk, which would be even more funny. But it's like, yeah, you just basically get like free whiskey all the time, and it's like, well, yeah, they have to drink it, but it's like if you're a walking tavern, like basically you're fine. I don't know. It's like I have things that are similar, but I keep them specific to where it makes sense to have them. I typically don't like or use items like this to just have out and about. Because then it's either you give up the reality of it and how dangerous something like this could be, and it's just a fun item, and then that's all it is. It's just a joke item, and then it just kind of derails, or you take it for what it is, and again, I'm just going to become rich at that point because I can just sit there and just sell whiskey anywhere I want. And then brine, depending upon like your definition, brine isn't necessarily bad either. Because if we're just talking about brine as salt water, now I have a source of salt. Salt is also something that you can sell in game. You can also take the brine, put it in a bottle, and boil it out and boil the water out and distill that, and then you can have fresh water. So essentially, I'm not seeing a lot of downsides here. Just saying. Meme/joke items equals bad items based on these three items. Yeah. Meme and joke items are either just abused for the joke or they're abused because they're non-balanced. And either way, this just isn't great. Now, it's a flask. Like, if you would say that this flask produces like 4 ounces an hour, so like basically 4 shot glasses worth an hour, that would be kind of make sense, right? Because you could do, or it's like it has a command word and it can produce 4 shots, and that command word could be like up to 3 times a day, like something for toasting, like a kind of a more of a role play item, right? Where you could like always have like a dose or something, or it has up to a gallon and it refills every time you win a battle or something like that. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. Just having a flask of alcohol though, that's just for infinite, is just boring to me. Honestly, it's not that fun. I'm over it. Not with your sentient item called Sid, which you could think give you 8, 9, or 10. So because your item is the sentient item. Sid got. Let me look here real quick. Sid was one of the first things that we did. Satchel of Individual Desire, Sid got an 8 out of 10. Yes, 8 out of 10. It's nice to actually have that list. So yeah, Flask, Infinite Booze, fucking boring. Let's look at the comments. I did not take your flask. Again, this sounds like is that something from one of the episodes? Like maybe like is this account someone who just watched a lot of the episodes and just randomly made items that he heard of from the episode? I don't know. No, wouldn't this be nice for real life? Not so. I can open a bar and sell a gallon of whiskey an hour and have a side business making salt from. Are you serious? Thank you. I just said this. I can sell a gallon of whiskey an hour and have a side business making salt from brine. I literally just fucking said that. That is still like double what these items are getting. Oh yeah, no, your items are so much more tasteful than these. Possible lore made by some fraternity in Strixhaven in a similar vein to the bottle of Boundless Coffee. A whole gallon Is this flask as big as a milk jug or is it bigger on the inside? Either way, I would have just changed it to 8 ounces. That refills and after what, like exactly like 8 ounces, 4 ounces, whatever, man. But that right there, even just that little bit of flavor makes the change, right? Like just changing it to 8 ounces one per minute versus gallon per hour. That's so much nicer. Then you can't chug it. Reminds me correctly. I think he described as being a regular sized flask that a character not stole it from a shop, then asked a magical shopkeeper to give it an enchantment to make it a perpetual flask. So I think that's just one of those bigger on the inside type of things. So again, it's a very specific item to a very specific episode, and it's boring. Always imagine it being ever filling, normal size, blah blah blah. 10 out of 10 will be using this campaign I'm DMing. Why? What are you going to use it for other than just letting people get drunk? Like, other than you can get drunk or get rich. That's the only thing that this thing is going to get you to do. Man, this item sucks too. Jeez. We're going to give this one, let's see, let's compare it to some of the other ones. We're going to give this one. It's better than the Boots of Dexterity. It's not, honestly, I think I'd rather, in game, I think I'd rather have the Fine Mustache as like a failed magical item than this thing. I mean, the only thing I would have this thing for is like for an NPC, a very, specific item. I wouldn't, no. This is going to get the same. Yeah, this is going to get a 3 out of 10. This is about as good as the Fine Mustache. This is getting a 3 out of 10, y'all. This is just, no. We don't want this. We don't want any of this. Sorry, just updating. Wow. I'm actually going to put in the author, I'm going to put quotes around this individual. Well, it probably is was created by Matt Mercer on his show. I just don't know if this is his account, but we're not happy with these. These are booty. I'm glad Kage's not here. I'm glad he doesn't have to be subjected to this. This is just bad. That is, let's see, cosmic. When food, drink items have flavor tags, it's part of the effect or the description. Depends on if it includes scratch and sniff. Wow. Okay. I am just not. Does he have any other items? Like, I almost want to do this as not a joke, but I mean, I almost want to find out if I can just do a whole series on items that this individual has submitted because, I don't know. Nope, I don't want that. I'm just clicking all over the place and I don't need to. I can't search by author, can I? Oh, we can. Wait, hello? Yeah, is that... Can we do that? So these are the only items that he's done here. Oh, and that is all items. Yeah, no, those are the only 3 items that he submitted. And they're all terrible. Yeah, no. These are not at all worth anything. I don't know why people care so much. I honestly don't. It makes no sense to me why people care so much. And I'd say end on a high note, but how? Yeah, I don't know. I was really hoping that there would be something in these. I honestly I was just hoping that there'd be something. I thought that we'd actually be able to talk about his genius and talk about things that he's come up with or find some insights that he's made. But no, I am left wanting. I am left unsatisfied, and yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of glad that Kage wasn't here to deal with that, because this is just this is boring content, you guys. I guess the booze one left a bad taste in your mouth. All the food puns. Oh man. Oh geez. Why? Okay. You know what? It's gonna happen, guys. It's gonna happen. This is what happens when Kage's not here. We get bad episodes. But it's okay. We will recover with next week's D&D Discussions Homebrew Review, where we will officially go through Cosmic's submitted idea that he has sent to me. Again, sorry we didn't do it today, but I didn't want to feel rushed on it. I do want to give you my full ideas. I do want Kage to be able to give his full idea about what it is. And I will talk to him a little bit more moving forward about maybe trying to allow ourselves our little side tangents, but maybe reeling them in just a little bit. I know that it does get a little bit difficult for us to get to our points, and I know that you don't want to wait until we decide to make edited content and put the edited version out. So I will keep on talking with him about that. But again, if you guys have any ideas, please let us know what you guys want us to do. I'm going to go ahead and put the Discord chat or the Discord link back into chat again one more time. So if you are interested to join our Discord, if you want to submit ideas and items for our homebrew review, you can do that in the Discord. You can submit suggestions or questions that you want to have us answer, or you can just come in and chat with all the great people that you saw here today. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and check out the description. If you're in chat, go ahead and click the link. Let us know what you guys think. Otherwise, that's going to be me for tonight. I will be back on Friday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we will have D&D discussions. I haven't worked out the topic just yet, so stay tuned. I will post that in the Discord, so join the Discord to get a heads up on what we'll be talking about. Not sure if Kage will be joining me. I know that he's very much busy this week as well, but he'll be here next week, where we will pick up Homebrew Review again. Otherwise, I hope you guys had a great week or a great weekend. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you have a wonderful week starting out, and I will see you guys on Friday. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Neither identify nor, all right, Cosmic really says, neither identify nor attunement let the user know about the secret effect. Kage busy? That's a first. Yeah, I mean, it's the end of the year, guys. Holidays, family, lots of stuff is happening. So we will be here. I will be here next week at least, but that might be the last one for the year, by the way. So keep that in mind. We'll be here next week for one more homebrew review, and then one more deep dive, and then we will probably be off for the rest of the year, and then we'll be back in January. So otherwise, again, hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a good start to your week. I will see you guys on Friday. Have a good rest of your night. Take care of yourselves.